What's up, guys? How's everybody doing today? This is Alex, your psycho host, with Shenanigans and more. It looks a little depressed and sad. I'm sorry. I just haven't had the chance to actually put it up. And I think I look hella diagonal. Or, like, moved. Anyways, so it doesn't matter as long as we get going. So the point is, how is everybody doing today? I'm doing well. Life, like always, it's getting in the way of progress and making stuff for you guys and for Shenanigans to keep on moving forward. But I'm working on it. Okay. So this week, based on March 8th, Happy International Women's Day. If you follow me, you know that I already posted stuff and that I constantly kept posting stuff about it because, women who are badass like that and we're superheroes and fuck yeah, But as far as everything else, I wanted to hurry up and make this episode so I can post it earlier, but like I said, life. Anyways, the point is, today's episode is in honor of all women and girls. And when I mean all women, I mean all women. I'm not saying real women, like some people on the internet. I'm not saying only birthed women, or whatever other crap people say. I'm just saying all women and girls, right? Of all ages, of all ethnicities, of all races, of all over the world. There's always women who are strong, intelligent, intellectual, create amazing things, not to mention create life, and everything around it, everything that has to do with being women. So for today's specific episode is actually about a day in a woman's shoes. Now, I love this idea because it was actually something that I didn't particularly or personally thought of. It was something that actually a friend of mine commented. Shout out to you. Mwah. You'll know when you watch it. I'm sending you the link. I just don't want to give your name, Mr. G. How about that? But I did wanted to tell you guys this episode is in a day of a woman's shoes was brought up by a man because he really wanted to know what it's like for us women day to day. A day in a woman's shoe being something that is like how what do we face? What's going on? Like what happens to our lives and like how we do it. A lot of times like men do genuinely want to know how we do it, how we get by, how we get to go to the gym, how we get to go to work, how do we get to take care of kids, how do we birth them and can our bodies change and all this stuff. And there's men who genuinely admire women who do all of this stuff like on a day-to-day, and who face it. I mean, I think I'm a valuable, strong woman and cool woman too, even if I don't have children. But there's so many women who are mothers and young mothers too, and single mothers and stuff, and do so much and just push and push and push to get through it all, So shout out to all my single mothers as well. You guys are fucking awesome, and you guys are strong, and you guys deserve it. But also shout out to all of my women. Don't necessarily our mothers, but they still do so much, and you still have so much, and we are focused as to what we want to do and focused as to where we want to get and our goals and everything we want to do and how we're gonna get there, regardless of all the oversteps and all the freaking obstacles that all these other people and specifics men who are accustomed to having it their way and being a man's world, when in reality, this is a woman's world. This is a queen's world, okay? So as enough of the intro. So as far as a day in a woman's shoe, I didn't get actually a lot of information from all of you guys or comments and stuff. It was only a couple of you, which still I appreciate you. I appreciate you all. My dear Scoopy. I'm just going to say Scoopy because I don't think you're poopy. I think he's poopy. But also to all of you guys who actually gave me information about it. But this is a little pointers that I pointed out myself were kind of as I did talk to people, but mostly as based on his question. like, how is it to be a woman? And it's hard. It's hard. Um, Someone specifically said it's hard to be a woman since birth. Because we already automatically are born with people's mentality, our parents' mentality, our siblings' mentality, being that we are the weaker sex, that we have more risks, that we are more at danger. When in reality, we're all in danger of depending on what kind of gender we're talking about. But we could all be in gender, and in danger. I guess it's in gender, in danger. So this was something that I particularly said is I'm not as pretty or attractive as some of these women out there, but even as a child I was always spoken to as a beautiful girl, and look at those legs, and made felt like the men on the streets wanted to take advantage of me. I was stared at like how cartoons, the wolf sees a steak and it drools over it. I didn't understand it. It just felt like a gut feeling of fear and caution, avoiding eye contact with these men. And like that was one of the things that I actually wanted to talk about specifically, and wanted to make it like an episode, because I have seen that things like have keep like occurring, or like where girls are now being like, not now, just kind of always, but like I want to say now, because it's like we can talk about it more. We can make it more obvious so that everybody learns that there's certain things that you don't fucking do. And so I remember distinctly, like, not understanding why, feeling the gut feeling of fear, or like caution, and like you should be careful with certain people and stuff, or certain hugs and things. Like my parents always kind of like told me to watch out for, and like to be cautious about it. But when it's actually happening and people are actually looking at you like that, you don't understand it. You just know it. Your body just feels it. And so it was scary. Ever since I was a little girl, my dad taught me and taught my mom and myself about being cautious, and how a girl should behave, to not be calling for unwanted attention. For instance, when wearing a dress, I had to remember to sit properly. Even if I wore shorts under, I couldn't play hide and seek with the boys who were my age or older, because I just couldn't. I always think about educating your girls and your kids in general, because kids, anybody can be in danger, but educating them as to why things are happening, or why you expect them to behave a certain way. Because as a kid, I didn't think anything of it. I was such a tomboy, and I didn't really like wearing dresses. And when I was wearing dresses, it would be like at family parties, and I'd kind of have to wear them, or kind of like, I wanted to be girly, but at the same time, like, I just wanted to hang out with the boys and stuff, so I didn't really understand that. But it was difficult being a girl, and like not being able to just be a kid and play and hang out with the boys, because I was a girl. And there was always such a distinction, especially because in my family the age gap for girls was so extended, that like my age group were all boys, and younger. And so it was kind of unfortunate, and it sucked. When I was working at an office setting, there was people that gave me unnecessary attention. Now I may not be a supermodel. I'm so rude to myself. I'm such an asshole. But some men really have the nerve and an obscene way to look or talk to women. Some men said things to me, or every time they gave me their hand to shake their hand, they would scratch my hand and make me feel uncomfortable. And I would tell them to stop talking to me, or I would tell their wife, and he would say she doesn't need to know. This was a daily thing. I would try to avoid him or anyone from his team. It really ends up being back to, for instance, in a job setting. I recently went through like training, and like all of the courses and stuff that they make you take for harassment and shit, and it's like, it was mind-blowing. Like, I swear, legit, like every time I was watching those videos, it was kind of like, ooh, that company should have really gotten sued, because there was like constant harassment to all the women, all the women, all the sizes, all the ethnicities. There was no restriction. There was no nothing. Even some of the men who worked in this particular section where there was only men felt harassed in a certain type of way where they would play too hard and joke too much and push too far, and the people in charge wouldn't do a thing because they were part of it. So if I heard that from someone who worked there and it was a man, I can't even explain to you how harassed a lot of other us girls felt, and like, and even accused the people who were doing it, and like their HR and like their people in charge didn't do squat. They sent an email. That was it. So in a work setting, being a woman is hard. In a work setting where you're constantly getting harassed, but there's no one that you can actually approach or report to, and anonymously or whatever the fuck, so that you don't feel, or feeling protected, like you're not gonna lose your job if somebody does that, and stuff. So there's just a lot of places where a lot of people take advantage, and yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if like later down the line I hear somebody got harassed way too far or get sued, or other things that I hope don't happen. Single mom take a lot from society and men, but being a woman who needs to provide and be a father as well as a mother, it's not as easy. But women are strong and can do it. Strength is one of the qualities these women have. Never enough is how it feels for these women. Again, I'm not a single mom. My mom is a single mom, and I'm pretty sure, like, seeing her and how society was always mistreating her and how they always kind of wanted to be like, treat her, like, she wasn't doing enough, or she wasn't providing enough. Or I hated the part when like she went through a phase of like partying and being young, because she didn't get to do that when she was young, so like all the people around us and the society and shit, like, just kind of like slut shamed her and stuff like that. And like, even dating was something that, like, as far as family and stuff, like, they didn't understand. They didn't really like comprehend and were like cool about it, or I don't know how to explain it. It was just really like annoying, seeing all that stuff. And so I know that single moms get a handful, and not just by their kids and growing up and everything that goes with that, but again, society, men approaching them. Men always think, there's too many memes that we shouldn't even fucking be laughing at, but like, I talk about single moms and things like that, and they don't understand that a lot of these women are not just facing like raising their kids on their own. They're most likely, they facing a lot of different kind of things that they're working on, like abuse perhaps, or emotional or physical, or any kind, you know getting to know themselves and becoming stronger every day by like getting to be better mothers and be better women in general, and like achieving like educational people. A lot of women are actually going after school and taking while they're working and taking care of their kids and stuff, and trying to get a career for them, so they're working towards that and stuff. And like, yet people don't see that when they go out and they want to have fun. That's why they go and explore and be a little wild, or not, and still people will still have judgments and have so much crap to say about them, so like, power to you, sisters. You guys are all good. One of the things that I like to talk about, and if any of you men actually saw periods episode, periods are not easy, and dealing with so much in life, but also with periods, our bodies are always attacking us when we have our periods. That causes women to have a lot of stress. So you guys don't literally grasp like just the tip of the iceberg of what it is to have a period. Like, it's you don't just have to deal with like stress at work, stress with your relationship, stress with your children, stress with being a single mom and work and career and everything. On top of that, our bodies give us headaches, nausea, bloating, Not to mention the painful bleeding or the bleeding in general, and staining our clothes and running around and not being able to do all these things and trying to still work out, and so much it is in our lives. On top of that, to add facial acne and stress and painful body aches and like sleep I don't want to say disorders because they're not disorders, but like sleep apnea or something like that. You can't actually sleep because of all this shit that happens to your body while you're on your period. Like, you guys don't know that half of it, and it's hard and it sucks. And I that's one of the things that I used to hate about being a woman. Then I didn't have it for a long time because of all the, those of you who have seen the episode about infertility, or the infertility, the PCOS and stuff, episode with my dear friend, that, like, all that shit is a lot. Another thing that people take for granted and don't acknowledge and don't even realize they're doing it, and not to mention with celebrities and stuff, but with a lot of people, just like your family members, your cousins. I just said family members. I just said family members, but I mean, like, with just everyone in society, they're so cruel and so rude, and don't actually understand, like, the process that your body goes through. That, like, with all the changes and stuff, with body changes during pregnancy, and how society expects women to not look different, or actresses as well as common women to not change or bounce back to their bodies before, or better yet, they forget their bodies change when they got a baby. Like, people women's bodies change, like, insanely. Even just with stress, our bodies change. You gain weight, you lose weight, like everything, right? Even if you don't sleep, your body changes and has an effect. Now imagine growing a human inside your body. It's not like you're growing a limb and it's just like, okay, there, you're growing a human, and then that human removes, and then the bloating, or whatever it's called, stays for a couple of months. It's obviously not gonna just go back instantly like they do on the movies, and that's like so much bullshit that they do that, that they don't actually show how gradual it is to go back to your normal body. It all varies depending on the woman and their body. It all varies on how much workout you got while you were pregnant. It all varies on how sick or how healthy you got to eat while you were pregnant. How much work you had and you were running around and stressing and all that stuff. Like, everything matters when your body changes for pregnancy, and there is no, like, guideline or norm in reality of how, even with second pregnancies, third pregnancies, not to mention more pregnancies, it all varies. Some people can, like, lose a lot of weight while they're pregnant, while others can gain a lot of weight while they're pregnant, or depending on the pregnancy, depends on how your body changes. So let's change that. Let's normalize that we cannot be judging people based on their bodies changing due to pregnancy. Like, it's absurd to me. To be approached and asked for a phone number or out easily, and with no invitation or sign that we're okay with it or interested in being approached. It's hard. I get that. Okay? Because me being a strong, independent woman, sometimes I do want to approach some dudes and ask them out and stuff, and I've gotten rejected. But it's normal. It's part of the thing. It's gonna happen, and I'm like, I just, like, grow, a thicker chest and, like, a thicker heart protection, and I shoot my shot the next time I try again. But yes, I'm talking about you, Mr. Gemini. But reality, it's not easy to deal with something like that when it even if it's like, it's just hard. It's just hard. It's just hard to be approached and to like not know how to say or how to let guys down easily. But it's not even about like it's not even about like how to let the guys down easy or something, you know. It's just like sometimes with certain people, um it's really uncomfortable, especially like if they're older, like as in older than you, especially if there's, like I said, if there is no invitation. Like if you're sitting across the coffee place, you know, and like um a coffee shop or something, and we make eye contact, I smile at you, maybe I'm just being nice, but maybe I'm actually inviting it. Okay, but if I try to avoid eye contact, if I walk away when you are close by, if I'm really not looking approachable, as in like I cross my arms, I turn away, I again don't make eye contact, like that's not inviting you. Don't come ask me out, because I'm most definitely not gonna be okay with you asking me out if I'm being so like unapproachable. You know, I tend to look apparently unapproachable. Yeah, that's my bitch staring face. But you know, sometimes I hate it. Sometimes it sucks, but sometimes I really do mean that I'm not approachable. Don't come to me, you know? I'm not interested. But you know, there's a lot of times where there's girls, women, younger girls who don't know how to say no or something. Um you know, are just being nice, and they're literally not really asking you for you to ask them out or asking for it. You know what I mean? I hate that shit. I hate that term. Um, so this one was what someone was saying. Since birth, we are seen as the weaker sex, but in reality, I don't see a man being able to endure birth pain, periods, colics, breastfeeding, the pain of breastfeeding. I keep hearing this. The responsibility of a home and taking charge depends on the time, because we suffer through all of the ages, just in different ways. Um, and someone replied, which was really cute. Shout out to you, baby girl. Um, um, Dealing with insecurities and men staring at you, um, never knowing whether it's a good or bad. Dealing with emotions and home bullshit. As a mom, being having to make sure daily that your kids aren't lacking anything at home. It's stressful but empowering in a sense. We handle a lot more than men ever will. Um, this is not to talk shit again, because we're femalist out here, not feminist, femalist. Not to um discourage or shame or um belittle single fathers. Okay, this is not at all. That's not the point. Single fathers do it too. You know, single fathers deal with it and they take care of it and they handle business, and my fucking applause and bow down for them, you know? It's hard. It's hard. This is not none of that. But as far as women and like other men who are not single fathers and who sometimes don't take care of their kids or lack or judge and criticize their women, or their baby mamas, for everything that they do for their kids, like, well, there are bad moms out there. I'm just gonna say that. Just gonna say that. But that doesn't mean that they're not dealing with it and they're not trying to figure it out, you know? But it's hard. And most definitely, I think the hardest part of being a woman is being a mother. And I'm not a mother yet, so I'm just saying for what I see. Someone else, my beautiful Scoopy, said, a shout out to you. That's all I meant to say. I would say that day to day as a woman, we struggle if it's just to find what to wear. The struggle is not just what to find what to wear, what we are going to make for dinner, or hell, who has time to plan stuff like that. I fight hard every day just to keep pushing forward, and I believe remember remember the definition of superwoman. um there shouldn't have ever been a Superman, because women do it all and then wake up and do it again. And most definitely, not saying a man can't or doesn't, but if a man would walk a day in a woman's shoes on a really hard day, um they just wouldn't be able to, you know. Toss a period in toss a period in and screaming kids or a sick husband. Yeah, one of those days. Let them see what it's like. And that's the thing, you know, that it's bonkers. Like, so much things, like, if we really sit down and think about all this, I feel like I think I had to for a second, because I'm so used to what my life is like that I didn't have to think of it as it being difficult or being impossible or being something that someone like a man wouldn't understand what it's like, you know, or wouldn't know what it's like. And so it's hard. Realistically, being a woman is hard. Doing everything we want to do, taking care of everything. I'm like right now just like on my regular routine, trying to get readjusted and have this like other kind of life and stuff. And like, it's hard. It's hard to really set time to do anything, have fun, go out, go on a fucking hike, hang out with friends. Like, it's so difficult. And I don't have children, you know, and just like dealing with it and like touching up your hair and like getting your nails done, you know, just like actually getting to stuff that you want to do that takes care of you, grooming yourself and like actually taking care of your family and everything else. And life and depression, anxiety, and all those things on top of having a period and hormonals and this kind of bonker shit that is just absurd. But we do it, you know, and we make it look so easy sometimes. And I think that's why men don't understand what is so difficult. You know, I hate to see that people talk about women being crazy and stuff when we deal with so much. And 90% of the time, I'm not going to say 100%, but 90% of the time, we're called crazy only because of behaviors that we see that change and things that then other people do and stuff. And realistically, you know, we're not that crazy. It's just that we're accused of being crazy. It's just easier, you know, since the time of the times. Like, people, men, this is not a man hating channel. Again, female list. Female lists don't hate men, but since the time of dawn, there were things where, like, I don't remember where I read, but there was this thing that I read somewhere that said that a doctor told his husband, a husband came with his wife and told the doctor that his wife was like gonna catch him with his side person or something or other, you know. And then she kept accusing him. He kept accusing her of being crazy, and he told the doctor, you have to help me, you have to like all this stuff and agree with me that she's crazy. And like, you know, I don't even know where the fuck I read that shit. But I read somewhere, and like, you know, legit, like, they're just kind of always accusing us of like being it because of our menopause, being because of our hormones, of our periods, of our insecurities, of our like. And I feel like, honestly, look, I've talked about it with this person whom I care for very dearly, but he pisses me off sometimes. And we talked about it, and he was like, you know, kind of like, yeah, but some women really push it, you know, and it's about the insecurities. And I can't believe that women eat each other up. And that's true. I do talk a lot about that. We need to normalize, we need to raise the bar where we support each other, where we cheer on each other, and where we like, whether it's because of a physical thing, an emotional thing, a valuable thing, like an energy thing, a vibe thing, you know. I would 10 times prefer that I want to hear you tell me that you like something about me, realistically, or even if you don't, that's okay, you know. But I would rather tell you that I like the way your hair looks today. Tell you that you're leveling up, you know. Some I catch myself constantly that if like there's something that you're telling me about yourself and about your goals and how much you weight or how much you like have worked out or how much you got to do or that you got a new man or that do whatever, if there's any moment in me that I feel like jealous of it, I cancel that. I shut it down, and I bless you. You know, I fucking genuinely say, God, que bueno, that everything goes well, you know, because I don't want to have this like competing, having a competitive mentality, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know, but competing between each other and tearing us each other down, solemnly, I personally feel, and this guy didn't think so, but you know, we're gonna get his hair wrapped around it. He'll come around. I think that generally we end up tearing each other down based on the attention we get from men. Because there was a time, a long, long time ago, when I was a kid, that I used to genuinely feel jealous of a friend of mine because she would get a lot more attention from boys than me. Now, it went into a whole thing where like I even came to talk to my mom and my stepdad about it, and I was just really genuinely sad about why I wasn't liked and why they didn't like me and stuff like that, you know. And their answer wasn't great, you know. Their support wasn't, I think, the best, but you know, they did what they could. Um, because they just shamed her. They just slut shamed her and stuff, you know, and just made me say, then just say that I was just a good girl and that I wasn't, you know, looking for the giving them the attention that they wanted, and that's what the difference was, right? Now that may be true. That may be that, like, you know, at the time, people, she was okay with kissing them and I wasn't, you know. I was young and I didn't know and I didn't want to know at the time. Or maybe she didn't, you know, and that's okay too, and she was just prettier than me, or she was just whatever. But you know, boys would give her the attention and they wouldn't give it to me. So that was one of the things that like I grew up with, you know, thinking that people didn't like me because I was a good girl, or that boys didn't come to me because I wasn't all out there and exhibiting myself, or um I don't know. I guess I've always kind of been unapproachable. You know, but all of those things kind of made me grow up into believing that the reason why boys didn't approach me was because I wasn't all out there, you know, and that made me feel like I needed to tear this person down, or any person down in reality, because I felt like if I wasn't getting the attention but they were, that I wasn't that there was something wrong with me, is that they were just like easy access, you know. And that's not cool. I don't want to fucking think that way. I don't want to, you know, justify the attention that men give other women is because of XYZ, or because they're that those are out there and mine aren't, or because whatever the fuck, you know. And so tearing each other down is something that I don't think that is good, and that I would much rather have positive thoughts and or blessings and mean them, you know, not be fucking hypocritical, you know. But if you don't have a nice thing to say, there's that saying, right? If you don't have a nice thing to say, then don't say anything, and that's totally fine too. You don't have to like it. You don't have to like me. You don't have to. I don't have to like you. You know. I also don't have to say anything. You know. So, but let's just not tear each other down. There's no need for none of that, and that's also women empowerment. You know, I also wanted to say, and like I did in one of my posts, there are women suffering all over the world, and all over the countries of this world, where there are women disappearing, there are girls that are being raped and kidnapped, and disappeared, and their bodies and everything are just like nowhere to be found, and there are mothers who are hungry to find the truth and wanting to get to the bottom of what's happening. So, you know, I don't really know how we can help but speaking about it and being realistic about it, and actually emphasizing that when it's a Women's International Day, and when we have the power to, and the avenues like this, you know, to speak about it and educate people, and let you guys know, you know, if you listen to any kind of music like Carla Morrison and stuff, like the whole reason why she did like this thing on the red carpet was like for fighting, you know, that there's women dying in Chile, you know, and that the police ain't doing anything, or are probably even part of it. This happens in Mexico all the fucking time. There's stories and hundreds and thousands of stories of women disappearing, of things happening to them, and nobody fucking doing anything about it. We are strong, we are beautiful, we are vulnerable, yes, we are empowered, we are mothers, we are creators of life, and therefore we should be respected, and we should receive justice for things that are done to us, and we should be heard and things like that. For all women, you know, I'm not just saying, there was a post and I might get shit about it, but I didn't mean to disrespect that here we're fighting for equal pay. Yes, we are. Yes, it's a thing. People always want to tell me that it's not. It's a thing. You know, it's happened to me where opportunities have gone to men just because I'm not a man, even if I was more qualified for it, you know? But regardless of that fact, there are women fighting to survive. There are girls, you guys, girls all over the world trying to survive, and they that live in fear, and no one is listening, you know. So if you can help, if you can find, if you can get educated, if you can share it an avenue like this one, and you can speak about it, and support and assist in any fucking way, like empower the woman, you know, and just like support. But besides that, this has been Shenanigans and More. This is your psycho host, Psycho Alex, and I'll be seeing you guys soon.